Crazy-Hydra. A KT Zerg, so he can't be that bad. In the regular season, actually, last season, he had a ridiculously good win rate. I think he was something like 8-2 at one point, or something. He's like really good. I think maybe a little bit underrated. He doesn't seem to get that much attention, at least from the foreign scene, but this guy is pretty good. And, well, who is his opponent going to be? It's going to be... Oh, apparently he ended the season 11-2, Blind Roar was telling me. That's pretty sick. It's going to be Classic, aka Redhead of Doom. I love these pro gamers who just dye their hair random colors. It's quite amusing. He's also got Eminem playing as his theme song, so clearly he is a badass. You do not want to mess with this guy. I mean, just look at that chin. You try to, you meet this guy in a dark alley, he will just poke your eye out with his chin, man. You gotta watch out. Anyway, we are going into the game. It is going to be a ZVT on Sniper Ridge. Alright, here we go. Set number 3. Who's gonna take it? KT or STX? Spawning as the brown Zerg in the top left is gonna be Crazy-Hydra. That's right, he is no ordinary Hydra. No, the ordinary Hydra is a lame ZVZ specialist who's got an MSL that he probably doesn't deserve. I'm just kidding, I'm kidding. I just don't really like him. I don't know why, for some reason I just don't like Hydra very much. I think it's because he denied us a Great vs. Zero MSL Finals, which would have been so sick. Actually, wait, no, it was the semis-finals. No, he denied us a Jaedong vs. Great Finals. Yeah, I can't even remember the bracket anymore. Whoops. Anyway, looks like it's going to be cross-map spawns. We're really going to go to the bottom left. Oh, no, it was Jaedong vs. Zero. Oh, so I was... No, it wasn't. Was it? No, it wasn't. No, Hydra definitely took out Jaedong in the semis. He definitely did. Hydra took out Jaedong, and it was Great vs. Zero on the other side. And then Great beat Zero, and then it was Great vs. Hydra, which ended up being not very interesting. Oh my god, I think that's like the first time ever that I remembered something correctly and yet got messed up. Yes! Yes! Nice. I feel like Deer who like just breaking Flash's win streak. It's like awesome. Anyway, so looks like little Gosu Depot going down for Classic. Of course, that does make his SCVs pop out a little bit closer to the minerals. Looks like I love how these girls just actually don't give a shit that they're on camera. They're just not hiding their faces at all. Yeah. And it's going to be a 12 hatch from Mr. Crazy-Hydra. Good job, bro. You're wearing sunglasses indoors. Pretty badass. You gotta protect your eyes from those really bright curly light thingies. I'll feel really bad if he actually has some eye condition where he actually like can't look at bright lights or something, but pretty sure that's not the case. Anyway, looks like Drone Scout gonna go in here. He did the very standard thing, by the way, going for the 12 hatch and then Drone Scouting cross map at the same time. And he is gonna see just one barracks, no gas. It's probably just gonna be a 1-racks expand. And the scouting SCV is about to go over and see that hatchery, so Classic will know that he can just plant the command center at his natural, no problem. Meanwhile, Drone's trying to be annoying here, do a little bit of harassment, but not going to accomplish too much, I think. Yep, the Marine's already out. And is he going to get away? I think he might actually get away as well. Yep, easy peasy. Unfortunately for Classic, Broodor Marines can't stutter step quite as well as the C2 Marines, so that drone's going to get away pretty easily. It's so funny now because like when I play SC2, I often overestimate the ability, like the survivability of my scouting worker. So I leave my probe in like a Terran's base for way too long, and a Marine comes out, and I'm just like, just instinctively I'm like, oh, it's fine. I'll just right click back to the minerals in my main, and he'll automatically run away. And then the Terran just like stutter steps a little bit, and the probe dies. I'm just like, oh, that's not so good. But anyway, looks like the hatchery now is done. It is going to be a 3-hatch build for Crazy-Hydra. So just going to play it safe, standard, economic. Good times. Here's the STX coach. And it looks like a pretty quick engineering bay here for Classic. So he's going to be going for a +1 attack on his Marines. Going to go probably up to 4 or 5 barracks and do some big Medic Marine mid-game pressure here. Try and keep the Mutalisks, the inevitable Mutalisks, away from his base. I presume it is going to be 3-hatch Muta from Crazy-Hydra. That is the standard on most maps, and especially on Sniper Ridge, where the recent modifications to the map make the natural a lot more easily harassable by mutas. I think it's definitely a good choice now. If you can see here, yeah, look at that. The minerals are kind of pressed against the side of the cliff there. In the old version of the map, they were all flat against the side of the against the edge of the map rather than against at the edge of the cliff. So it's a little bit more difficult to harass that. Anyway, it looks like Marines actually looking around for this Overlord. They're not quite going to get it, but interesting move, slightly risky move. But I mean, he did see with the SCV that there were only 2 things on the field, so he knew that he'd be safe in doing that. I'm sure if he saw 6 things with the SCV, he would move back there. Looks like the KT coach actually is completely disinterested and just yawning. Dude, KT coach, you have no right to yawn, alright? It's 4 AM here. I should be the one yawning. Ha, I feel like I want to yawn just to show him who's boss, but I can't like self-induce a yawn, unfortunately. Anyway, looks like the M&M dudes are piling up the natural. No bunker. Not even, but did he make a depot wall at least? I think he did, but yeah, no bunker at the front, which is pretty smart, because you see, he's still seeing everything with his SCV. So normally, like, in between that supply depot and the command center, Terrans will often place a bunker, just to be safe. But, you know, since he sees that there's no lings, oh, it looks like he's building it now, but yeah, he saw there were no lings being produced for quite a while, so he just delayed that bunker quite a bit. And that does help you out, you know, saving those 100 minerals until you absolutely need to spend it on the bunker does allow you to get your other things out a little bit faster, you know, throw down the barracks a little bit faster, maybe get a couple extra SCVs, squeeze them out. And he is going up to 4 barracks in his main base as well. Not 5, just 4. It is kind of really up to the Terran what exactly he wants to do. In the meantime, Crazy-Hydra taking the top right main base as his 3rd. And that's very standard stuff. So what he's going to do is he's going to use his Mutalisks to kind of pressure the Terran, keep him at home, force him to defend, and then, you know, safely get that 3rd expansion up, take up to lurkers, and then once he's got lurkers, he can basically put 2 or 3 lurkers at the top of the ramp at that top right base, and that'll be easily defended, and then he can just worry about, you know, attacking the Terran and defending his natural. Although, you know, that's basically the plan. That is what Zerg wants to happen. Of course, you know, no plan survives contact with the enemy, and so what Classic is doing here with this fast +1 attack upgrade and the 4 racks pumping Medic Marine is he wants to put on a lot of early pressure here and basically keep the Mutalisks away from his base, force Crazy-Hydra to use them to micro against this Medic Marine group and defend himself. And then basically Classic doesn't have to build as many turrets. He doesn't really have to worry too much about, you know, losing a lot of SCVs or whatnot. Just needs to make sure he's got good, decent Medic Marine control, decent positioning, and he's got to be careful about getting too aggressive here because there are a decent number of Speedlings on the map here. A Muta-Ling combo attack could be very effective, and yeah, look at this. Classic, I think, very smartly pulls back. As soon as he saw those lings, he immediately knew what was going on. So he moved back up to this ridge, did not continue the attack, and as we can see, it looks like a little bit of posturing from both players. I think the Mute is just waiting for the stim to wear off before they go back in there. Although forcing stims and Brood are not quite as important as in StarCraft 2, of course, because you do have a lot more medics than medevacs. The medics are a lot cheaper, and so you generally don't run out of energy just from stimming. The only time you really have to worry about your energy is if you get plagued or something, and then your medics do actually just run out of energy. But whoa, look at this! Crazy-Hydra, losing the Muta already, hasn't really done any damage, and the turrets are now up in place. Very nice turret placement there. He's got a couple at the top of his main mineral line. I'm sure he's got a couple at his natural, and he's got two protecting protecting his barracks, the unit-producing structures, and that's a very important place too. A lot of times, like a rookie mistake that Terran players will make is they'll focus too much on their mineral lines and not realize how important their barracks are. Because if you don't have enough, anti-air protecting your barracks, the Mutas can just camp your barracks and pick off Marines as they pop out, which is super duper annoying. Meanwhile, Hive is already going to be on the way here. The Queen's Nest is finished. I'm sure he's going to start his Hive ASAPly, go up, get some defilers as soon as possible. He's actually not got any lurkers yet, so but although I think he will have them in good time for this M&M attack. He's actually just built a sunken at the top right. I'm not sure that's entirely necessary. I think he was just perhaps a little bit unsure about how well he could hold back this medic marine force, just wanted to be safe. It would also be possible for like a Classic to somehow sneak out a random couple of Marines to just stim and run up into that base, and then it would be kind of annoying to deal with those. Just building a sunken there. Meantime, looks like a few links getting picked off in the middle of the map. Still a pretty pretty balanced game here. Neither player really doing any serious damage. But I think this medic marine force of Classic kind of did its job. Some people might say, oh well, if he went for the early medic marine pressure, he didn't really do any damage himself. But that's not really the point of the build. He didn't take any damage from the Mutalisks essentially in his main base, and that's really nice. And I think that's actually Flash's dad. Oh man. That guy always looks so scary. He's like one of those really scary, old Asian fathers. Man, Flash's dad. Like whenever I see Flash's dad, I'm just like, oh my god. I feel like I have to go back to my room and study. I feel like I should like turn off the stream and just go do math or something when I see his dad. It's just like, ugh. Anyway, of course, being Asian myself, I know exactly how it feels. So, looks like we're gonna have a counterattack here. A lot of Zerglings going in here. Random siege tank coming out. There are a few medic marine reinforcements. That's not gonna be enough to hold off the Mutaling attack, though. Oh, he's gonna run back into the bunker. Looks like a few Marines get back into the bunker. The siege tank gets sniped down. Looks like the Lynx going after the bunker. Another siege tank actually gonna get picked off for free. Oh my goodness, nice little counterattack here by Crazy-Hydra, and the army of Classic is completely out of position. He's near the top right base, but he's just chilling on the ridge there. And the thing is, he can't even attack that base because there's 3 lurkers at the top of the ramp, and so there's absolutely no way for him to attack up. It looks like he's just going to go for it anyway. I don't think that's going to work at all. The Mutas, meanwhile, going to the main base, picking off SCVs. The only issue I have is that Crazy-Hydra's Mutas, I think, were placed a little bit too close to the ramp. I think we need to get another shot on that. Maybe he reposition them, but you don't want your lurkers to be like right at the edge of the ramp there, at the cliff, because then the Marines can actually shoot them from the low ground. Whereas what you want is you want to put them a few hexes back from the ramp. So in order for the Marines to shoot them, they have to run up the ramp, and then you just skewer everything. Meanwhile, it looks like 1-1 is actually finished. So it is a good thing that Crazy-Hydra has 3 lurkers there and not just 2. A lot of, if the Marines don't have any armor upgrades, they will get 2-shotted by lurkers, but as soon as they get +1 armor, you need 3 lurkers to one-shot them. So it's pretty crucial, actually, to be able to one-shot those Marines as they run up the ramp. In the meantime, looks like a few lurkers ready at the natural expansion as well, and Classic really unable to do any damage in return. Despite taking quite a beating from that attack, crucially losing those initial siege tanks. So that's really going to hamper any ideas he had about putting on some pressure here before defilers get out. Looks like, yeah, the first vessel is even out, and he just doesn't have siege tanks. Looks like random drone gets sniped there at the top right. I'm a little bit surprised that Crazy-Hydra just sent that out without checking with a link first. Looks like Crazy-Hydra is actually just going to take the 12 o'clock expansion. That's a very interesting choice here. I mean, usually Zerg's 4th is just going to be the natural below their 3rd, but in this case, I guess that's a fine decision. It's a pretty early 4th here. His defilers aren't even ready yet. I mean, his defiler mount's done, but I think Consume's, I don't know, Consume might be done by now. In which case, that's gonna help him out quite a bit. 108 supply for Classic against the 87 of Crazy-Hydra. That's fairly standard. Terran's generally about 20-ish supply ahead at this point in the game, going into the mid-late game. Meanwhile, 3rd command center floating over to the 6 o'clock base. Looks like the Overlord does see it. The Overlord actually moving away a little bit, because I think that command center was giving vision to the turret on the high ground. Looks like first defiler getting irradiated there. But, Classic. I'm a little bit surprised that he's not trying any kind of drop play or something, just like dropping Medic Marine in the main. He's being pretty passive here, and you don't really want the to let the Zerg just kind of go unchecked, because once, you know, he gets his economy up, once he gets all his hive tech going, then it's going to be kind of hard for the Terran, at least until he can get his own, you know, big mech army going. Of course, in the late game in TVZ, you generally see a big switch from this bio play into mass mech. But that doesn't happen for a little while later, I think. For the moment. Oh, looks like nice little Marine split here, grabbing 3 Lurkers. Wow, losing only 2 Marines. Beautiful little split there. I'm actually quite impressed. But oh, just as I was talking about it, looks like we are going to see the mech switch now. The armory is actually already spinning, getting some upgrades for those factory units, and going up to 6 factories, and we can see all the barracks floating out now on the map. Of course, not going to be producing from those anymore, so might as well just use them to scout. Of course, they, you know, floating buildings actually make great scouts because, you know, they have so much HP, and especially in TVZ where the Zerg just doesn't really have any anti-air in his standard late game composition. Like, his only anti-air is really going to be Scourge, and you obviously don't want to waste those on buildings. You want to use those on vessels and dropships. But, you know, normally your composition is Lurker, Ling, Defiler, and perhaps Ultralisks. So the floating barracks just give the Terran free vision wherever they want it. In the meantime, though, Crazy-Hydra is actually going up to 5 bases. He's taking the top right natural already. And, you know, with Defilers and Lurkers out on the map, there's really nothing that a Bioforce can do about it. You literally cannot do damage to the Zerg with the Terran's units right now. The only thing that does damage to the Lurkers is Irradiate, and, I mean, potentially Fire Bats, but, you know, you're not going to mass Fire Bats and try and break Lurkers under Swarm. It's very costly and unusual. Well, not unusual, but it's very, I guess, situational. Yeah, I think it's a better word. However, Classic is taking the bottom left. Now, here's the other thing. So far, Classic has kind of let Crazy-Hydra take all his bases and get his tech up and do whatever he wants, which I think is not the best idea. However, now it is actually up to Crazy-Hydra to go on the offensive. So now, Crazy-Hydra, he's got his 5 bases, he's got his hive tech. I really think he should start making some moves, maybe doing some drops, you know, going for some, you know, Defiler Ling attacks on expansions or whatnot, because now if Classic actually is allowed to get his 4th base up at the bottom left and he starts adding on a bunch of factories there, if he gets up you know, a high enough siege tank count, then it becomes actually very difficult for the Zerg to deal with. There are actually some really cool games between Jaedong and Flash. I think a notable one is one on, I think, Grand Line. I don't remember what exactly the tournament was, but I remember a really long TVZ between those guys on Grand Line, where basically, like, Jaedong, you know, had a lot more expansions than Flash, but Flash just abused the extreme cost efficiency of mech and just kind of outlasted Jaedong. So really, going into this super late game, I don't think the Zerg should really let the Terran get the big mech ball rolling, get all that factory infrastructure rather, up and running. But, you know, it's having said that, it's really not exactly obvious how Crazy-Hydra should attack here. His units are pretty vulnerable to these spider mines, so you can't just like aim move across the map. So I'm just kind of waiting to see what he does here. In the meantime, Classic is the one that's got like complete map control here, just moving around the map. Of course, those Nidus canals connecting the expansions do mean that Crazy-Hydra has at least a little bit of mobility defensively, but not the best. And looks like some Lings just getting taken down there at the bottom left. Looks like, ooh, gonna grab a couple of free siege tanks here, maybe. Not quite getting the second one. It doesn't look like the Lings actually have the Adrenal Glands upgrade yet, which is quite surprising to me. I don't know if I just misread that, but it definitely looked to me like they were attacking slower than they should. In the meantime, actually, it looks like Hydralisk is coming out. I think he's actually got his Hydralisk upgrades. Of course, when you're fighting against the mech army, you do actually want some Hydras. And look at this, a Lurker drop at the 3rd base. This is exactly the kind of thing that I thought Crazy-Hydra should be doing, at least doing some harassment here on the expansions. Looks like 9 kills between those Lurkers, and now a Dark Swarm going down, so now that Lurker is actually invincible. Terran units just cannot damage it. Even the splash damage from the tanks won't do anything because bird units under Dark Swarm don't even take splash damage. So yeah, looks like another Dark Swarm on those lurkers there at the 4th base, or I guess, is that? Yeah, the 4th base. And the Ultralisk Cavern is on the way here, so it looks like we're going to see some cows pretty soon. The supply is actually still staying pretty close here. Classic with about a 20 supply lead, 170 to about 150. But at this point in the game, that's actually I think that's actually favoring the Zerg. The Zerg to be at 150 supply. The Terran's not maxed yet, doesn't really have his mass siege tank ball rolling. That's not so good. But it looks like +1 on the mech is done. It looks like Goliath gonna have a duel with that Mutalisk and take him out. But the Ultralisk Cavern is finished. Now, Ultralisks aren't actually like the most cost-efficient units against mech. You know, obviously siege tanks doing full damage to them, spider mines doing a lot of damage to them. But I mean, they're still friggin' good. So you know. Let us make ultras and be merry. Oh, it looks like I forgot to put guys on gas there. Oh no, it looks like he fixed that. Oh, only 2 guys on his natural gas though. That's a bit of a boo-boo. Interesting. In the meantime though, it looks like some units now moving out on the map, and now we can see the factories being added at the bottom left. And this is what I'm talking about. If Crazy-Hydra just lets Classic get all those factories up at the bottom left, and it becomes like a big split map situation, I think he's going to have extreme difficulty winning the game in the late game. But anyway, it looks like he's being aggressive right now here, going in with the Hydra Link. Plague! Hitting 2 siege tanks and a couple of vessels as well. Nice little Plague right there. Plague, of course, extremely effective against a mech army because you have nothing to heal your mech units, unlike with Medic Marine, where the medics will at least heal you up. And it looks like, oh man, running in here with a lot of low-tech units, just mass Hydra Ling with the good Dark Swarms. You know, a very, very cheap unit composition. So even if, you know, he's losing a lot of these units, if he just picks off a couple of siege tanks each time, that is actually generally worth it. I mean, Zerg is already going to be cost inefficient against Terrans, so you can just spam a bunch of cheap units and abuse your mass hatchery production. And oh, I thought there was going to be a... Man, wait, what is that on the minimap? Just look, there's so much stuff on the minimap right now. If you just look at the minimap, basically the entire map is revealed. There's like barely any, you know, fog of war left on the map. It's actually pretty crazy the amount of vision that that both these players have. Looks like 2-1 upgrades actually done for the mech now. Must be double upgrades, double armies upgrading for Classic. And oh, looks like he's gonna run in here with some vultures, gonna snipe some defilers, but the Ultralisks are out, and looks like a huge attack from Crazy-Hydra. Ultra Link going in, but where's the defiler? There's no defiler to support. These Ultralisks gonna take a huge amount of damage from the siege tanks. Is it gonna be enough though? Ultra Link is so good. Look at that, just completely rolling through that position. Classic has actually surprisingly few units there, and Classic now looks like he's gonna be in some trouble. Classic has fallen behind in the supply. He's down to 134 supply against the 151 supply of Crazy-Hydra. The Ultra Link moving down to the bottom left here, gonna take down this or force a cancel on that command center. Some random siege tanks sieging up in the middle of the map, but this bottom left expansion might get taken down. The mass factories looks like they're gonna have to lift off here. The SCVs are evacuating, and it looks like Crazy-Hydra hitting at just the right moment, attacking not a moment too soon there, or too late. Just hitting before that big mech ball could get rolling. And oh no, the Scourge coming in here. The vessel's gonna get taken down. Nice snipes on those vessels by Crazy-Hydra. I gotta say though, the vessel count so far this game has been relatively low the whole game. Looks like a random force of Vulture and a few Medic Marine running into the 4th base. There's actually no defenses there at the force, but in the meantime, these tanks in the middle getting cleaned up here. I don't think that was a good idea. I think Classic made a mistake to just send out some random tanks by themselves with no supporting units. They're basically just gifting those to the Zerg player, and this attack looks like it is going to get cleaned up. The Marine's still pretty effective, but whoa, that must be a scary time to be an FCV. 2 Ultralisks just kind of making out there, cuddling a little bit, while the third Ultralisk kind of does what he's supposed to. This is like one of those construction sites, you know, where like most of the workers are just chilling, and then like one guy is actually working. In the meantime, looks like Science Flood actually going to get taken down here. I hope Classic at least got his 3-2 on the way before that died, or else he's going to have to remake that and spend some precious gas. Meanwhile, look at this cute little move here. Dark Swarm on the drones. So now even though there's vultures there, well, it looks like they can actually pick off the drones at the top hatch. That was kind of cute. Anyway, looks like more units moving in here to the 3rd base. Nice Dark Swarm. Nice Mine Bomb on the siege tanks. There's a few more siege tanks in the back, but it looks like the ones at the base are going to get cleaned up. It's actually going to be SCV Medic versus Zergling here. And oh, it looks like the Vulture's finally getting cleaned up by those Hydras. The link counterattack also getting cleaned up. But Classic, he's going to get mined out pretty soon here. He's mined out his natural. He's basically mined out his main base. He's only mining from one base right now. And Crazy-Hydra still has like all the bases at the top of the map. I think he's also taking no, it looks like there's just a bunch of units on the minimap. Never mind. It is actually kind of hard to judge things from the minimap now with so much going on. But in the meantime, another attack going in here to the natural. Looks like Crazy-Hydra wants to end the game. He does have almost a 50 supply lead right now. I don't think it's quite enough units here. That is a fair number of siege tanks on that little high ground ridge. But you know, it is 104 supply, 107 supply for Crazy-Hydra against just 68 supply for Classic. Classic in a really, really rough spot right now. And the thing is, when you're going for this big mech army, you really need the economy to support it, because in low numbers, the mass mech is actually not that effective. You really need just like a solid core of siege tanks to you know, really abuse that. And oh no, a lurker drop at the back of the third. Oh, he's actually got +2 upgrades in fact on that range attack. How did he not kill a single SCV? I don't understand. Looks like he got 4 SCVs with that last volley. Man, I thought he would get a lot more SCVs there. I'm a little bit surprised he only dropped 1. If he dropped 2 lurkers there, that would have been awesome. In the meantime, though, the Ultra Link moving in here. These SCVs are actually probably all really damaged from that lurker as well. Yeah, the Link's just kind of one-shotting everything. Oh, a plague on the tanks that came in to reinforce as well. Cleaning those up easy peasy. The poor Ultralisk biting the dust. Classic is just trying to hold on here. Of course, this is the deciding game for the Brood War best of 3, but it doesn't matter. GG from Classic, and Crazy-Hydra takes it down for KT Rolster. KT taking the first best of 3 here. Classic couldn't do it. And by the way, this is going to be a much needed win for KT, assuming they do win today, because in their last 2 matches they have lost to Team 8 and they've lost to Air Force Ace. The bottom 2 teams from last season actually managed to beat KT Rolster already, so yeah, they're probably not too happy about that. And they are on track to correct that.
전반전 2대1로 KT가 마무리 지었고요. 이제 그런데 문제는 제가 말씀드린 것처럼 8개 구단 가운데 스타크래프트 2의 실력이 가장 뛰어난 게
Yes, this is live.
STX죠. 네, 그래서 STX는 스타크래프트 2가 후반전에 기다리고 있다라는 점을 위안으로 삼고 에이스 결승전까지 끌고 가야 될 것입니다. 잠시 스타크래프트 2로 펼쳐지는 후반전이 여러분을 직장합니다.